In the decaying house of endless screams, Elias uncovers a cursed diary that binds him to a cosmic nightmare. Haunted by whispers, blood-hungry gates, and the screams of those he loved, he battles the endless ones, ancient horrors, from the void that mark his soul with spiraling scars and starry eyes. Each chapter drags him deeper into a Gothic labyrinth where mirrors lie, bones rise, and the house itself lives, waiting for him to sing its final chant. Will Elias close the gate or become its eternal prisoner? Chapter 1. The Shadowed Arrival. The old house stood on the hill like a dark giant, watching over the small town below. Its tall towers reached up to the gray sky, and the windows looked like empty eyes. The wind howled around it, carrying strange sounds that made people shiver. No one in the town liked to talk about the house of endless screams. They said it was cursed, that bad things happened there long ago. But I, Elias Thorne, had to go. I was a young man, just 25, with a thirst for adventure and a pocket full of dreams. My uncle had died and left me the house in his will. He was a strange old fellow, always talking about stars and secrets from beyond. I thought it was just old man talk, but now I was here, standing at the big iron gate. The gate creaked as I pushed it open. Rust flaked off like dead skin. The path to the door was overgrown with weeds that grabbed at my boots. Thorns scratched my hands, drawing tiny drops of blood. I wiped them away and kept walking. The air smelled of damp earth and something rotten, like forgotten fruit. Birds didn't sing here. Even they knew better. As I got closer, I heard it for the first time, a low moan, like someone in pain far away. I stopped and listened. Was it the wind? Or something else? My heart beat faster, but I shook my head. Just your mind playing tricks, Elias, I said to myself. The front door was huge, made of dark wood carved with odd shapes, swirls and stars that didn't look right. I turned the key, and it clicked open with a sound like breaking bones. Inside, the hall was dim, lit only by dusty light from cracked windows. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling like gray hair. The floorboards groaned under my feet as if the house was alive and didn't want me there. I set down my bag and looked around. Portraits on the walls stared back, old faces with eyes that followed me. One was of my uncle, his face thin and pale, with a wild look in his eyes. I decided to explore. The living room had big chairs covered in sheets like ghosts sitting quiet. A fireplace sat cold and empty, with ashes that looked fresh. Had someone been here? I knelt and touched them. They were warm. My skin prickled. "Hello?" I called. No answer, just that moan again, louder now. It came from upstairs, or maybe below. I couldn't tell. I found the kitchen next, with pots hanging like nooses and a table set for one. A plate had crumbs, as if eaten recently. This place felt wrong, like time didn't work right here. As night fell, the house grew colder. I lit a fire with old wood from the pile. Flames danced, casting shadows that twisted into shapes, faces screaming, hands reaching. I rubbed my eyes. Tired, that's all. I pulled out my uncle's letter from my pocket. It said, "Elias, the house, holds truths from the stars. Beware the screams. They call from the endless void. Do not seek the basement until you are ready." What did that mean? Stars? Void? He must have gone mad at the end. I ate some bread from my bag and tried to sleep on a dusty couch. But sleep didn't come easy. The moans turned to whispers, words I couldn't make out. They scratched at my mind like nails on wood. I tossed and turned, dreaming of black skies filled with eyes watching me. When morning came, gray light filtered in. I felt worn out, like I'd run all night. But I had to stay. This was my house now. I spent the day cleaning. Dust flew up in clouds, making me cough. In a drawer, I found old papers, letters from my uncle to strange people talking about cosmic beings and gates to other worlds. Nonsense, I thought, but a chill ran down my back. One letter said, "The house is a door. The screams are their voices, hungry for souls." I laughed, but it sounded hollow. By afternoon, I ventured upstairs. The stairs creaked like old bones. The hallway was long, with doors on both sides. I opened one, a bedroom with a big bed and mirrors everywhere. In the mirror, my face looked different, older, scared. I turned away quick. Another room had books stacked high, smelling of mold. Titles like The Star's Secrets and Whispers from Beyond. My uncle's library, I guessed. As I read a bit, the whispers came back. Clearer now. Come, see the truth. I dropped the book and ran out. Heart pounding, I went back down. Maybe fresh air would help. Outside, the town looked small and far. No one came up here. Why? Stories of people vanishing, screams at night. I shook it off. Evening brought rain, pounding the roof like fists. I made tea and sat by the fire. The flames popped, and in the sparks, I saw shapes again. Then, a knock at the door. Who? I opened it slow. A man stood there, soaked with a hat, pulled low. Name's Harlan, he said. From town. Heard you took the house. His eyes darted like he was afraid. Come in, I said. He hesitated, then stepped inside. We sat by the fire. Your uncle was odd, he said. Talked of things not meant for men. Stars that think, beings that scream. I leaned in. What happened to him? Harlan shivered. Found him in the basement. Eyes wide, mouth open like screaming, but no sound. Dead. Basement. The letter warned about it. What's down there? I asked. He shook his head. Don't go. The house. It changes people, makes them hear things. As he spoke, the moans started again, loud. Harlan jumped. That's it! The screams! He ran out into the rain, leaving me alone. I barred the door. The sounds grew. Screams now, not moans. High and low, like many voices in pain. They came from everywhere. I covered my ears, but they were inside my head. Stop! I yelled. But they didn't. All night they wailed, telling stories of lost worlds, dark spaces between stars. When dawn broke, I was shaking. The screams faded, but echoes lingered. I had to know. I found the basement door, hidden behind a curtain. It was locked, but I had the key from Uncle's things. I turned it and the door swung open. Stairs led down into black. Cold air rushed up, smelling of wet stone and something metallic, like blood. I lit a lantern and went down. The steps were slick, like slime covered them. Walls had marks, scratches, as if claws dug in. At the bottom, a big room with strange drawings on the floor. Stars, swirls, symbols that hurt my eyes. In the center, a stone altar, stained dark. Books lay open, pages filled with wild writing. I picked one up. The cosmic ones wait, it said. Their screams are calls. Open the gate. Join the endless. My head spun. Visions flashed. Vast spaces, huge shapes moving in dark, eyes like suns. I dropped the book. The screams started again, louder than ever. They pulled at me, like hands grabbing my soul. I ran up the stairs, slammed the door. But the vision stayed. That night, as I lay in bed, the house seemed to breathe. Walls pulsed, floors shifted. I dreamed of floating in space, hearing screams from black holes. Waking, I knew I couldn't leave. The house had me now. Days blurred. I explored more, finding hidden rooms. One had a telescope pointed at the sky, but when I looked, stars moved wrong, like alive. Another room had jars with things floating, eyes, maybe, or worse. The screams became my company, telling secrets. We are old, they said, from before time. The house is our mouth. I wrote in a journal trying to make sense, but words failed. Townfolk avoided me when I went down for food. You look like him, they said. Mad eyes. I laughed, but inside fear grew. One night a storm raged. Lightning lit the house like day. In the flash, I saw shadows move. Tall, thin, with too many arms. They whispered my name. Elias, join us. I hid under covers like a child. Morning came, but no peace. I went back to the basement, couldn't stop. The symbols glowed, faint. I touched one, and pain shot through me. Visions again, planets dying, screams echoing across voids. I saw my uncle screaming silent, absorbed into the dark. I fled upstairs, but the house changed. Doors led to new places, halls twisted. I got lost in my own home, hours wandering, hearing laughs mixed with screams. Finally, found my way. I decided to burn it. Gathered wood, oil, but as I struck the match, the flames died. The house wouldn't let me. "You are ours," the whispers said. Weeks passed. I grew thin, eyes sunken. The screams were constant, but I listened now. They taught me things, how stars sing, how voids hunger. Cosmic truths that broke my mind a little each day. One day a visitor, a girl from town, Anna, pretty, with kind eyes. "Heard you're alone," she said. Brought food. We talked. She made me feel human again. But as night fell, the screams rose. She heard them. "What is that?" Fear in her voice. "Don't listen," I said. But she did. Her eyes glazed. She screamed, joining the chorus. I tried to pull her away, but she ran to the basement. I followed. She touched the altar, and light burst. Her body twisted, became shadow, sucked into the symbols. Gone. Just echoes of her scream added to the rest. I sat there, broken. The house won. I was part of it now. But wait, that's not the end. This is just the start. The cosmic horror waited deeper. Gothic dread filled every corner. I had to go on, uncover more. Chapter 2. Whispers in the walls. After Anna vanished into the basement's glow, the house of endless screams felt like a living thing, its walls pressing closer with every breath I took. The air grew thick, heavy, with a damp chill that clung to my skin. The screams from that first night had quieted, but now whispers slithered through the cracks. Soft, sneaky sounds that called my name. "Elias, listen, learn." They weren't loud like the screams, but they were worse, worming into my thoughts like roots digging into soft earth. I tried to block them out, shaking my head, humming old songs from childhood, but they kept coming, scratching at my mind like nails on a coffin lid. I stayed upstairs, far from the basement's dark pull. The upper rooms felt safer, though not by much. The house creaked constantly, as if shifting its weight, testing me. I spent my days pacing the long hallway, avoiding the portraits with their staring eyes. My uncle's face hung among them, his painted gaze wild and knowing, like he was still here, watching. I draped a cloth over it, but the whispers seemed to laugh, low and mocking. The library became my refuge. It was a big room, stuffed with shelves that reached the ceiling, books spilling over like secrets too heavy to hold. The air smelled of mold and old paper, and dust floated in beams of gray light from a cracked window. I ran my fingers over the spines, reading titles that made my stomach twist. The Void's Call, Songs of the Starless Deep, Rituals for the Unseen. My uncle's books, I figured, collected in his mad years. I pulled one down, its cover black and worn, the pages brittle. Words jumped out. They come when called, through gates carved in stone. The whispers are their first touch. My hands shook and I slammed it shut. Dust puffed up, making me cough. That night, I lay on a creaky bed in one of the upstairs rooms. The whispers grew louder, clearer, weaving stories of lost souls trapped in the house's bones. "Elias, we're here, always here." I squeezed my eyes shut, but sleep brought no escape. Dreams came, walls cracking open, dark tendrils reaching out, curling around my wrists. I woke with a start, heart pounding, and found scratches. On my arms, thin red lines like someone had clawed me in the night. I stared at them, breath hitching. The house was marking me. Morning didn't bring peace. The whispers followed me everywhere. even to the kitchen where I boiled water for tea. The kettle's whistle mixed with their voices, turning into a hiss. See us. Know us. I spilled the water, burning my hand, and cursed loud enough to drown them out for a moment, but they came back always. I needed answers, something to make sense of this. So I searched. In the hallway, I noticed a loose panel in the wall, half hidden behind a faded tapestry. My fingers pried it open, wood splintering under my nails. Behind it was a small, dusty space, barely big enough for a child to crawl into. A metal box sat there, rusted but heavy. I dragged it out, heart racing. Inside were letters, dozens of them, tied with twine. They were addressed to my uncle from names I didn't know. People with titles like Seer of the Veil or Keeper of the Gate. One caught my eye, written in shaky ink. Jonathan, close the gate. The whispers lie. They promise truth but bring only hunger. My uncle's name, Jonathan Thorne. I read another. The house is their mouth. Don't listen, or you'll be swallowed. The paper crumpled in my fist. Too late for him. Maybe too late for me. I stuffed the letters back, but one fell out, its words burning into my mind. The screams are their anger, the whispers their lure. I slammed the box shut and shoved it back into the wall. The whispers giggled, like they knew what I'd found. I hammered nails into the panel, sealing it tight, but the house seemed to mock me. The walls groaned louder that night, and shadows danced in corners, flickering like candle flames. I swear I saw a shape, a pale figure with Anna's face, her eyes wide and pleading, mouth moving without sound. I reached out, calling her name, but she melted into the dark. My chest ached. Was she really gone, or was the house playing tricks? I tried to leave the next day, packed my bag, headed for the door, but the handle wouldn't turn. I yanked hard, kicked it, screamed at it. Nothing. The whispers turned to chuckles, low and cruel. Stay. You're ours. I pounded the wood till my fists bled, but the door held. Windows wouldn't open either, glass cold as ice, unyielding. The house wanted me here. Days blurred together. I ate what little food I had left, stale bread and apples from town. The whispers never stopped, weaving tales of cosmic horrors, beings older than stars, waiting in the dark between worlds. They spoke of gates, of keys, of blood spilled to open paths. I wrote it all in a notebook, trying to keep my thoughts straight, but my handwriting grew shaky, like my uncle's in those letters. I was changing, becoming something the house wanted. One night, I heard footsteps. Not mine. Heavy, deliberate, coming from the hallway. I grabbed a poker from the fireplace and crept out. The hall was empty, but the air felt wrong, thick with a smell like wet stone and decay. The footsteps stopped, then started again, behind me now. I spun, poker raised, but saw nothing. Just whispers, laughing soft. Find us. Join us. I ran back to my room, barred the door with a chair. It wouldn't hold, I knew, but it made me feel better. Sleep brought worse dreams. I saw the house from above, its towers pulsing like a heart, connected to stars by threads of light. Beings moved in those threads, huge and wrong, their eyes like black holes. They whispered my name, promising secrets if I'd just open the gate. I woke, screaming, throat raw. The scratches on my arms were deeper now, forming patterns, swirls, stars, like the carvings on the front door. I went back to the library, desperate for answers. Buried in a pile of books, I found a small journal, its cover stained dark. My uncle's writing filled it, wild and messy. The whispers started small, he wrote, just murmurs at night. Now they're endless, singing of the void. They promise power, but I see their hunger. Pages later, he scrawled, the walls hold their voices. I sealed the gate, but it wants to open. Blood calls it. I dropped the journal, hands shaking. Blood. Anna's scream flashed in my mind. Had her touch on the altar been enough? I tore through more books, finding sketches of the basement's symbols, notes about the endless ones who lived beyond our world. One page had a drawing of the house, but wrong. Its towers stretched into a starry void, doors opening to nothing. My uncle's last note read, "I hear them in my blood now. Elias, if you read this, run." Too late, Uncle. That night, the whispers turned to pleas. Help us. Free us. They sounded sad, like trapped souls begging. I saw more ghosts, Anna again, and others, men and women with hollow eyes, hands reaching. I backed away, tripping over a rug. The floorboards creaked and a crack opened, just an inch, but black light spilled out, cold and wrong. I stomped it shut, heart hammering. The house was alive, and it was angry. I tried to burn the journal, lit a match, held it to the pages. The flames caught, then died, like the house sucked the fire out. Whispers laughed louder. "You can't. Stop us." I threw the book across the room. It landed open, pages glowing faint, like the symbols downstairs. By morning, I was a wreck, eyes red, hands trembling. I looked in a mirror and barely knew myself, face thin, eyes wild, like my uncle's portrait. The whispers were part of me now, humming in my veins. I wanted to scream, to fight, but the house was too strong. It wasn't just walls and wood, it was a trap, a mouth, like the letters said, and I was caught, but I wasn't done. The whispers wanted me to listen, to learn. Fine, I'd learn their secrets, find their gate, and shut it for good, or die, trying. The house creaked, like it heard me. Let it. This wasn't over. Chapter 3. The Forbidden Room. The house of endless screams tightened its grip on me after the whispers filled my head. I felt like a mouse in a trap, the walls watching, waiting for me to break. The journal's words, my uncle's warning to run, burned in my mind, but running wasn't an option. The doors wouldn't budge, the windows mocked me with their icy glass. The house wanted me here, and the whispers, those sly, creeping voices, kept pushing me deeper into its secrets. Elias, find us, see the truth. They cooed, like a lullaby twisted wrong. I couldn't stay in the library anymore. The books seemed to leer, their pages whispering when I turned my back. I needed somewhere new, somewhere to think, to fight the pull of this place. I climbed the creaky stairs to the attic, the air growing colder with each step. The hallway up there was narrow, lined with doors that looked older than the rest of the house, their wood warped and stained. Dust swirled in the dim light from a single cracked skylight. My boots echoed, too loud in the quiet, and the whispers followed, softer now but sharper, like they knew where I was going. One door stood, out at the end of the hall, heavier than the others, its handle rusted but carved with the same starry swirls I'd seen downstairs. My uncle's letter flashed in my head. Beware the forbidden places. This had to be one. My hand hovered over the handle, heart thumping. The whispers urged, "Open. See." I tried the key from my uncle's things, but it didn't fit. The door was locked tight, like it was daring me. I wasn't giving up. I found a crowbar in a closet downstairs, its iron cold and heavy. Back at the door, I wedged it into the crack and leaned in hard. Wood splintered, the sound like a scream. The door gave way with a groan, swinging inward to a dark room that smelled of dust and something sharp, like old metal. I lit my lantern, its flame flickering as if scared. The light showed a small space, cluttered with strange things. A child's rocking horse, its paint chipped, a trunk spilling faded dresses, shelves of cracked porcelain dolls, their glass eyes glinting. But in the center, dominating the room, was a huge mirror, its frame black and twisted like burnt bone. The glass was cracked, a jagged line running top to bottom, making my reflection split when I stepped closer. My face looked wrong, older, thinner, eyes too big, like the portraits downstairs. I froze. The whispers stopped, replaced by a hum, low and deep, coming from the mirror. My reflection moved, just a twitch when I didn't. I stepped back, heart racing, but the hum pulled me closer, like a hook in my chest. I reached out, fingers brushing the glass. It was cold, so cold it burned, and a shock ran through me. Visions flooded my mind. Dark rooms like this one, but endless, stretching across worlds. Houses like mine, each with mirrors, each with screams. I saw people, shadows of them, trapped in glass, their mouths open in silent cries. Anna was there, her face pale, hands clawing at the surface. I yanked my hand back, gasping. The mirror went still, but my reflection stayed wrong, smirking when I didn't. I turned away, eyes darting around the room. This was the forbidden room, no doubt. My uncle's journal mentioned truths in glass, but this felt like madness. I rummaged through the clutter, looking for anything to explain it. Under a floorboard, loose and creaking, I found a diary, smaller than the one downstairs, its cover soft with rot. My uncle's handwriting filled it, tight and frantic. "The mirror shows the cosmic self," he wrote. "Not you, but what you could be, what they want. The endless ones live in reflections, waiting." I flipped pages, hands shaking. I looked too long. Saw my soul twisted, starry-eyed theirs. "Don't look, Elias." My stomach churned. I glanced at the mirror, half expecting to see that smirking face again. Instead, it was just me, but my eyes looked darker, deeper, like they held stars. The whispers returned, louder, circling the room. "See? No. Join." I slammed the diary shut and stuffed it in my pocket. The air grew heavy, like a storm was coming, though the skylight showed clear stars. I moved to the trunk, digging through old clothes, hoping for more clues. My fingers brushed something hard, a metal locket, heart-shaped, with a tiny clasp. Inside was a picture of a woman, young, with Anna's eyes. My uncle's wife? A sister? The whispers laughed, sharp and cruel. "She's ours. Like you." I dropped the locket, its chain clinking on the floor. The dolls on the shelves turned their heads. Or did they? Shadows played tricks in the lantern's light. I went back to the mirror, drawn despite myself. The crack seemed wider now, the glass pulsing faintly, like a heartbeat. I leaned in, breath fogging the surface. The hum grew louder, and my reflection spoke, lips moving while mine stayed still. "Come through," it said, voice like mine but colder, laced with static. I stumbled back, tripping over the rocking horse. It swayed, creaking, as if laughing. The whispers joined in, a chorus now, singing of gates and voids and endless nights. I grabbed the crowbar, ready to smash the mirror, but stopped. What if breaking it set something free? Instead, I threw a sheet over it, hiding its face. The hum dulled but didn't stop. I fled the room, slamming the door behind me. The hallway felt longer, the walls closer. My lantern flickered, casting shadows that stretched too far with too many limbs. I ran downstairs, heart pounding, and barricaded myself in the living room. The fire was low, but I piled on wood, needing light, warmth, anything to push back. The dark. The whispers followed, seeping through the floorboards, telling me the mirror wasn't done with me. I clutched the diary, reading by firelight. "The forbidden room is their eye," my uncle wrote. "It sees you, knows you. I sealed it, but it calls." Sealed? The door hadn't looked sealed, just locked. Had someone opened it before me? Anna, maybe, before she ran to the basement? Sleep was impossible. I paced, the diary's words looping in my head. Cosmic self, endless ones. The house was alive, and the mirror was its eye, watching, waiting. I saw flashes of my reflection in every shiny surface, the kettle, the window, even my knife's blade. Each showed that wrong face, smirking, starry-eyed. I covered them with cloths, but the whispers laughed louder. "You can't hide. We see." Days passed, or maybe hours. Time blurred in the house. I stayed away from the attic, but the forbidden room pulled at me, like a sore tooth you can't stop touching. I heard noises up there, creaks, thumps, like the rocking horse moved on its own. Once I swore I heard Anna's voice, faint, calling from above. "Elias, help." I wanted to go, to save her, but fear held me back. The diary warned of traps, of lures. Was it her or the house playing me? I tried to focus, to fight. I nailed boards over the attic door, but the wood split, like the house rejected them. I burned sage from my bag, hoping old stories about cleansing worked. The smoke curled, forming shapes, eyes, hands, stars. The whispers mocked, "Fool, we're older than your tricks." I threw the sage in the fire, cursing. One night, a storm hit. Thunder shook the house, lightning flashing through windows. In the glare, I saw shadows move, tall, thin, with arms that bent wrong. They stood in corners, watching. I grabbed my poker, swinging at nothing. The whispers turned to screams, short and sharp, then back to soft pleas. "Look again, see the truth." They meant the mirror. I knew it. I couldn't resist forever. At dawn, I went back. The attic door was open, boards scattered like the house tossed them aside. The forbidden room waited, its air colder, heavier. The sheet was off the mirror, lying crumpled on the floor. My reflection stared, not smirking now, but sad, like it pitied me. I stepped closer, diary in hand. "What are you?" I whispered. The glass hummed and my reflection answered. "You, us, endless." Visions came again, other mirrors, other houses. All linked, all screaming. I saw myself in each, different but the same, trapped in glass across worlds. Anna was there, pounding on her side, fading into black. I smashed the mirror. The crowbar rang, glass shattering into 1,000 pieces. Each shard showed my face. Screaming now, eyes full of stars. The hum stopped, but the whispers didn't. They were louder, angrier. "You broke nothing. We're still here." Shards cut my hands as I stumbled back, blood dripping on the floor. The dolls laughed, their glass eyes glowing. The rocking horse swayed. Faster, faster. I ran, locking the door behind me, but the house shook like it was waking up. Downstairs, the walls pulsed, the portraits smirked. My uncle's eyes glowed faintly, like the symbols in the basement. I hid in my room under blankets like a scared kid, but the whispers found me, promising truths I didn't want. The mirror was just the start. Go deeper. I knew what they meant. The basement, the altar, the gate. But I wasn't ready. Not yet. The forbidden room had shown me too much, broken something in me. I was Elias, but also something else, something the house was shaping. The diary lay open on my bed, its last page blank except for one word, scrawled in blood: run. I couldn't. The house wouldn't let me. Weeks passed, or maybe days. I lost track. The whispers were my shadow now, always there, always talking. I saw Anna in dreams, trapped in glass, her screams joining the endless chorus. I saw my uncle, too, his face starry, his voice begging me to stop. But stop what? The house had plans, and I was part of them. I stayed downstairs, avoiding the attic, but the forbidden room's pull lingered. Shards of the mirror haunted my thoughts, each one a window to horror. I found one in my pocket, small and sharp. It showed my face, but not mine. Cosmic, endless, screaming. I threw it in the fire, but it didn't burn. The house laughed, and I knew the forbidden wasn't done with me. Chapter 4. Echoes from the Fall. Stars, the house of endless screams, had sunk its claws deeper into me after the forbidden room. The shattered mirror's shards lingered in my mind, each glinting with that starry-eyed version of myself, mocking me with truths I wasn't ready to face. The whispers had grown sharper, more demanding, like they knew I'd seen too much. "Elias, look up. See the stars," they urged, their voices slithering through the walls, the floor, even my bones. I stayed away from the attic, barricading myself in the lower rooms, but the house didn't care. It was alive, its pulse thrumming in every creak and groan, and it wanted me to keep going, to uncover more of its cosmic secrets. My uncle's diary, still in my pocket, felt heavy, its words about gates and endless ones burning in my thoughts. I was scared, but curiosity, A dangerous gnawing thing kept me from running, even if the doors would let me. Nights were the worst. The house grew darker, colder, as if it drank the light. I'd taken to sleeping by the fireplace. It's weak. Flames my only comfort. But sleep brought dreams of vast black skies, stars pulsing like hearts, their light singing in screams. I woke one night, sweating, heart racing, and saw the telescope in the corner of the living room. It was my uncle's, old and brass, pointed at a window like it was waiting. The whispers pushed. "Look, see the truth." I tried to ignore them, pulling my blanket tighter, but the telescope gleamed in the firelight, calling me. I gave in. Dragging it to the window, I wiped dust from the lens. The night was clear, stars sharp against the black. I looked through, expecting familiar constellations, but the stars were wrong. They moved slow and deliberate, forming shapes, faces, eyes, mouths open in silent wails. My hands shook, but I couldn't look away. One star, brighter than the rest, pulsed like a heartbeat. The whispers sang louder. "We see you. We know you." Pain stabbed my head, a needle through my skull. I staggered back, the telescope clattering. The star's light stayed in my eyes, burned into my mind. I grabbed paper and a pencil, sketching what I'd seen. Lines connected stars into patterns, swirls, spirals, like the carvings on the house's doors. The shapes matched. Drawings in my uncle's diary, one's labeled "The Gates Map." My heart sank. The house wasn't just a house, it was a beacon, tied to those stars, pulling something closer. I tore the sketch, but the pieces glowed faintly like the mirror shards. The whispers laughed, soft and cruel. "You can't unsee." Days blurred. I avoided the telescope, but the stars called anyway. At night, I'd catch myself staring out windows, seeing them twist into new forms, hands, claws, things with too many eyes. The whispers told stories of worlds eaten by darkness, of beings older than time, their screams echoing across voids. I wrote it all down, filling pages with shaky notes, trying to make sense of it. My uncle's diary said the house was a door, but to where? And why me? One evening, I found a hidden panel in the living room behind a bookcase. It popped open when I leaned against it, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling up. The whispers urged me on. "Climb. See." I lit my lantern and went, each step creaking like a warning. The stairs led to a small room, a kind of observatory, its walls curved and painted with star charts. A second telescope, bigger than the first, pointed at a glass dome in the ceiling. Books were scattered, their pages filled with numbers and symbols I didn't understand. One had a note in my uncle's hand. "The stars speak. The house listens." I opened the gate once by mistake. It wants more. I looked through the telescope. The stars were closer now, their light cold and sharp. That pulsing star was there, brighter, bigger. As I watched, it grew, filling the lens with white fire. Pain hit again, worse this time, like my skull was splitting. I fell, vision swimming with images, planets crumbling, seas boiling, skies full of screaming shapes. Voices, not whispers now, boomed in my head. "We come. We..." "Wait!" I crawled away, knocking over books. One fell open to a picture of the house, its towers drawn as antennas, reaching into a starry void. I stumbled back downstairs, head throbbing. The house felt different, like it was waking up. Walls pulsed faintly, matching the stars' rhythm. I tried to eat, but food tasted like ash. Sleep brought worse dreams, me floating in space, chased by screams that tore at my soul. I woke with scratches on my chest, patterns like the star charts. The house was marking me again, branding me as its own. I went back to the observatory, driven by a need I couldn't name. The telescope showed new stars, ones that weren't there before, forming a circle around the pulsing one. I sketched them, hands shaking, and saw they matched the basement's symbols. The house, the stars, the gate. It was all connected. My uncle's diary said blood opened the gate. Anna's blood, maybe, when she touched the altar. Or mine, seeping from cuts I didn't remember getting. A storm came one night, thunder shaking the house like laughter. Lightning lit the observatory, and in the flash, I saw shadows, tall, thin, with eyes like stars. They stood around the telescope, watching me. I swung my lantern, but they vanished, leaving only whispers. Join us. Sing with us. I ran downstairs, barricading the door, but the house groaned like it was amused. I tried to burn the star charts. Lit a match, held it to the paper. The flames died like before, sucked away by the house. The whispers mocked, "You can't stop the stars." I threw the charts out the window, but they blew back inside, landing at my feet, glowing faintly. The house wouldn't let go. Days later, I saw Harlan, the man from town, at the gate. He looked scared, clutching a cross. "You're still here," he said, voice shaking. "The house is changing you. I saw your uncle, same look, eyes like stars." I laughed, but it sounded wrong, hollow. "Help me," I said. He backed away. "Can't. No one can. Burn it, Elias, or leave." He ran off, and I slammed the gate shut. The whispers grew louder, telling me to look again, to see the truth. I fought it, but the telescope pulled me back. One night I looked, and the pulsing star was a face. Huge, endless, with eyes that saw me. It spoke, voice shaking the house. "Open the gate. Let us in." I screamed, falling back, blood dripping from my nose. The floorboards drank it, glowing where it fell. I hid in the kitchen, avoiding mirrors, windows, anything that reflected. But the stars were in my head now, their echoes screaming. I found a letter in my uncle's desk, sealed, addressed to me. "Elias," it read. "The stars are their eyes. The house is their voice." I tried to close the gate, but blood calls. Them. If you're reading this, it's too late. I tore it up, but the words stayed. The house changed around me. Doors led to new rooms. Walls shifted when I wasn't looking. Once I found myself in the observatory without climbing the stairs. The telescope was aimed at me, lens glinting like an eye. I smashed it, brass bending, glass shattering. The whispers screamed, angry now. "You break nothing. We are endless." I was losing myself. My eyes in the mirror were darker, flecked with light, like the night sky. My dreams showed me standing on the altar, blood pouring from my hands, stars pouring into the world. I woke, gasping, tasting metal. The house was winning. One night, I heard Anna's voice, clear as day, from the observatory. "Elias, I'm here." I ran up, heart pounding. The room was empty, but the telescope was fixed, lens gleaming. I looked through and saw her, trapped in a starry void, screaming, reaching. The whispers laughed. "She's ours. Soon." "You..." I smashed the telescope again, harder, until it was just twisted metal. But the stars stayed in my eyes. I knew now, the house was a bridge, the stars its masters. The screams were their song, calling me to open the gate. I wasn't ready, but the house was patient. It would wait, whispering, watching, until I broke. Chapter 5. The Mad Diary. The house of endless screams had woven itself into my soul, its starry echoes still ringing from the observatory's visions. The telescope's shattered remains lay scattered, but the stars' faces, those vast screaming voids, burned in my mind. The whispers were relentless now, no longer just voices but a weight pressing on my chest, urging me deeper into the house's secrets. "Elias, red, no," they hissed, slithering from every corner, every crack. My uncle's diary, tucked in my coat, felt like a stone, heavy with warnings I couldn't ignore. His words about gates, blood, and endless ones haunted me, but the house wouldn't let me stop. It was alive, its walls pulsing like a heartbeat, and I was its prisoner, caught in a web of cosmic dread and Gothic horror. I stayed downstairs, avoiding the observatory and the forbidden room. The living room, with its dying fire, was my only safe spot, though safety was a lie. The whispers followed, weaving through the crackle of flames, telling me to dig deeper, to find the truth. My hands shook as I pulled out the diary, its pages yellowed and stained, some stuck together with what looked like ink or blood. My uncle's handwriting was wild, jagged, like he'd written in a frenzy. I opened to a new page, hoping for answers, dreading what I'd find. The screams started small, he wrote. Just murmurs at night like wind through broken windows. Now they're endless, a chorus from the void. They promise power, knowledge beyond men, but I see their hunger. The house is their mouth, Elias, and it's always hungry. My stomach twisted. I flipped ahead, eyes scanning fast. I found the gate by accident, in the basement, behind the altar. A crack in the world, glowing black. I spoke their words, not knowing, and something answered. Beautiful, terrible, older than stars. My heart raced. The altar, where Anna vanished. Was that the gate? I read on, pages crinkling under my fingers. The diary is my confession, he wrote. I thought I could control it, harness the endless ones. Fool. Their whispers lie, promising truth but delivering madness. Blood opens the gate, Elias. Mine, hers, soon yours. Hers? My uncle's wife? Anna's face flashed in my mind, her scream as the altar took her. I slammed the diary shut, breath hitching. The whispers laughed, soft and cruel. Read. Learn. I couldn't stay still. Pacing the room, I felt the house watching, its portraits glaring. My uncle's painted eyes seemed to glow, following me. I threw a cloth over his face, but the whispers mocked. You can't hide. I needed more, something to explain the gate, the screams, the stars. I searched the living room, tearing through drawers, finding nothing but old keys and faded letters. One letter, crumpled and torn, said, Jonathan, you've gone too far. Seal the gate or it'll take us all. No signature, just a symbol, a star inside a spiral, like the carvings everywhere. Night fell, and the house grew colder, the fire barely holding back the dark. I lit candles, their flames flickering like they were scared. The diary called me back, its pages glowing faintly in the dim light. I opened it again, driven by a need I couldn't shake. The endless ones speak through the house, my uncle wrote. Every scream is a soul they've claimed, every whisper a lure. I sealed the gate once, with salt and iron, but it wants to open. It calls for blood. Salt and iron. I had salt in the kitchen, but iron. The crowbar, maybe. I clutched it, feeling its weight, but the whispers hissed. Too late. Too weak. I read through the night, pages turning faster. My uncle's words grew wilder, sentences breaking apart. They're in my dreams, starry faces screaming. I see her trapped in the void, begging. I did this. My fault. Her. The woman in the locket from the forbidden room. My uncle's guilt bled through the ink, his letters smearing. I tried to burn this house, but it wouldn't burn. The flames died, laughing. The gate wants more, always more. I touched a stain, red and sticky. Blood. My hand jerked back, the diary falling open to a new page. Elias, if you read this, don't repeat my mistakes. The diary is a map, but it's also a trap. Burn it if you can. I tried. I threw the diary in the fire, watching flames lick the edges. They caught, then died, like the house sucked them out. The diary lay untouched, glowing brighter. The whispers roared, "You can't. We're forever." I grabbed it, hands burning, and stuffed it back in my coat. The house was playing, with me, testing me. I wanted to scream, to fight, but my strength was fading. Days blurred. I barely ate, my food gone stale. The whispers were in my head now, not just the walls, singing of cosmic truths, worlds born in fire, dying in screams, beings that fed on fear. I saw flashes of Anna, her face in the flames, the windows, even the knife I used to cut bread. "Help me," she mouthed, but the whispers laughed. "She's ours. Soon you..." I covered every reflective surface, but the house shifted, uncovering them when I wasn't looking. One night, a storm hit, thunder shaking the walls like laughter. Lightning lit the room, and I saw shadows, tall, thin, with starry eyes standing in corners. They moved when I blinked, closer each time. I swung the crowbar, hitting nothing but air. The whispers turned to screams, short and sharp, then back. To soft please. Read. No. Join. I clutched the diary, its weight grounding me. I opened it, desperate for a way out. A new page, written in blood. The gate's key is blood, but the lock is will. I gave too much. Lost her. Don't. Give in, Elias. My uncle's voice joined the whispers, faint but clear. Continue my work. Or end it, I screamed, throwing the diary across the room. It landed open, pages flipping on their own, stopping at a sketch of the basement's altar, surrounded by symbols. Words beneath. Chant to open, chant to close, blood to bind. A chant followed in a language that hurt my eyes, letters twisting like worms. I tried to memorize it, but the words slipped away like water through fingers. The whispers sang them instead, their voices echoing in my skull. I felt my lips move, mouthing the chant without meaning to. The house shook, floorboards creaking, walls groaning. I stopped, gasping, but the air was thick, heavy with a smell, like burnt stars. Something was waking. I ran to the kitchen, grabbing salt, spilling it in a circle around me. The whispers hissed, angry now. I held the crowbar, its iron cold, hoping my uncle was right about it. The circle held for a while. The shadows stayed back, but their eyes glowed, watching. I read more, pages turning fast. The endless ones are patient, my uncle wrote. They wait for weakness, for doubt. I doubted, and they took her. Don't doubt, Elias. I didn't want to, but fear was eating me alive. Sleep brought nightmares. Me, standing on the altar, blood pouring from my hands, stars pouring into the world. I saw my uncle, his face twisted, starry-eyed, screaming silent. Anna was there, trapped in a void, her scream joining the endless chorus. I woke, tasting blood, my lip bitten raw. The diary was open on my chest, though I hadn't touched it. I went back to it, unable to stop. The last pages were barely legible, my uncle's mind breaking. The screams are their song, the whispers their lure. I'm part of it now, Elias. Run or join me. The final word was smeared. Sorry, I cried, tears falling on the pages, mixing with the bloodstains. The house creaked, like it was pleased. I tried to leave again, banging on the door, but it laughed, the wood vibrating under my fists. Windows wouldn't break, glass hard as steel. The whispers mocked. Stay, read, become. I was changing, I knew it. My eyes in the mirror were wrong, flecked with light, like the stars I'd seen. My hands had new cuts, forming patterns I didn't understand. One day, I heard footsteps, heavy and slow, coming from upstairs. I grabbed the crowbar and crept up, heart pounding. The hallway was empty, but the forbidden room's door was open, though I'd locked it. Inside, the mirror shards glowed, showing my face, cosmic, endless, screaming. I ran, but the diary in my pocket burned, like it wanted to be read. I gave in, reading by candlelight. The house is their voice, my uncle wrote. Every room a piece of their mind. The diary holds their words, but it's also their chain. Burn it, Elias, or it binds you. I tried again, dousing it with oil, striking a match. The flames died instantly, the diary untouched. The whispers roared, ours, forever. I was losing myself. The house was in my blood, my dreams, my breath. I saw Anna in every shadow, my uncle in every reflection. The diary was my map, my curse. I knew the chant now, though I didn't want to. It sang in my head, pulling me to the basement, to the gate. I fought it, clutching the crowbar, sprinkling salt, but the house was stronger. One night I heard Anna's voice, clear and desperate, from downstairs. Elias, stop it! I ran, crowbar raised, but found only the diary, open on the altar's page. The house laughed, and I knew the mad diary was my chain and the gate was waiting. Chapter 6. Night of the Endless. Howls, the house of endless screams, had claimed pieces of me, my sleep, my sanity, my hope. The mad diary's words clung to my thoughts like damp rot, its warnings about blood and gates mixing with the whispers that never stopped. "Elias, come, sing," they called, weaving through the walls, the air, my blood. The house was alive, its pulse louder now, a thudding rhythm that matched my heart. I'd smashed the telescope, burned pages that wouldn't burn, and seen starry horrors in mirrors and skies, but the house didn't care. It was patient, hungry, and it knew I was breaking. My uncle's diary said the gate wanted blood, and Anna's scream, her vanishing into the altar's glow, haunted me. I stayed downstairs, clutching my crowbar, sprinkling salt in circles that did nothing. The whispers laughed, and the house waited. The night it happened, the air felt wrong, heavy with a smell like burnt metal and wet earth. The moon was full, its light pouring through cracked windows, painting the living room in sickly silver. I sat by the fire, its flames weak, spitting sparks that died too fast. The whispers had changed, turning from soft lures to something wilder, hungrier. They weren't words anymore, but sounds, growls, snarls, like beasts circling in the dark. My skin prickled, hair standing on end. I gripped the crowbar, its iron cold, hoping my uncle was right about its power. Then it started. A howl, low and deep, not from the house but from outside, beyond the gate. It wasn't a wolf, not any animal I knew. It was wrong, like a scream stretched into a song, echoing from somewhere vast and empty. The howl grew, joined by others, a chorus that shook the walls. The house groaned, floorboards creaking like it was answering. I ran to the window, peering out. The moon lit the yard and shadows moved, tall, thin, with limbs too long, heads bent at angles that hurt to see. Their eyes glowed, not like stars, but like holes, black and endless. They howled again, circling the house, their voices weaving with the whispers. "Join, sing, run." I backed away, heart pounding, tripping over a chair. The fire flared, then died, plunging the room into dark. The howls were inside now, coming from everywhere, walls, ceiling, floor. I lit a candle, its flame trembling like my hands. The howls rose, sharp and jagged, cutting through my skull. I saw shapes in the shadows, claws, teeth, eyes that burned. They weren't wolves, not beasts, but something older, something from the stars my uncle wrote about. The diary lay on the table, open to a page I hadn't seen. The howls come when the gate stirs. They hunt, not flesh but souls. Iron holds them back, but only for so long. I grabbed the crowbar tighter, my knuckles white. The howls turned to laughter, mocking, like the house was playing with me. I ran to the kitchen, spilling salt in a sloppy circle. The howls followed, louder, shaking the cups on the shelves. I heard claws scratching, not outside, but in the walls, like they were burrowing through. The whispers joined in. "Sing, hunt, become," I shouted, "leave me alone." But my voice was small, swallowed by the noise. The candle flickered, and in its light, I saw them, shadows on the walls, moving wrong, with too many legs, too many mouths. One reached out, a claw brushing my arm, cold as space. I swung the crowbar, hitting nothing, but the shadow hissed and retreated. Visions came, unbidden, like the mirror's tricks. I saw vast plains, not of earth, but of black stone, under skies with no stars. Beasts ran there, packs of them, their howls tearing the air. They hunted souls, not bodies, dragging them into voids where screams never stopped. I saw Anna running, her face pale, her scream joining the chorus. My uncle was there too, his eyes starry, howling with them. I blinked, and the kitchen was back, but the howls were louder, the shadows closer. I ran upstairs thinking distance would help. The hallway stretched, longer than before, doors appearing where none had been. The howls followed, echoing from every room. I ducked into the library, slamming the door, piling books against it. The whispers laughed. No escape. Sing with us. I opened the diary, desperate for answers. My uncle's words were frantic. The howls are their call, the endless ones hunting. They came when I opened the gate, just a crack. They want it wide. Blood pulls them closer. Blood. Always blood. The window rattled and I saw them outside. Shapes under the moon, circling, howling. One pressed against the glass, its face a blur of eyes and teeth, its howl shaking the frame. I swung the crowbar, shattering the window, but the creature was gone, its laughter mixing with the whispers. Glass cut my hand, blood dripping on the floor. The house hummed like it tasted it. The howls grew wilder, triumphant. I fled to my room, barricading the door with a chair. The howls were everywhere, inside my head now, singing of cosmic hunts, of souls torn from flesh and fed to the void. I saw scratches on my arms, new ones, forming spirals like the gate's symbols. The house was marking me, claiming me for the hunt. I sprinkled salt, clutched the crowbar, and read the diary by candlelight. Iron weakens them, my uncle wrote, but only blood binds them. I gave too much, lost her. Don't, Elias. Her. The woman in the locket, maybe, or someone else the gate took. The night dragged on, the howls never stopping. I saw shadows under the door, claws scratching, eyes glowing through cracks. I swung the crowbar, shouting, but they vanished, only to return. The diary fell open to a chant, the one from before, in that twisting language. My lips moved, saying it without wanting to. The house shook, the howls peaking like a pack closing in. I stopped, biting my tongue till it bled, spitting to break the chant. The howls quieted but didn't stop. Dawn came, gray and cold, the moon fading. The howls softened, retreating, but I heard them still, faint, waiting. I was shaking, my hands cut, my eyes burning. The diary lay open, its pages glowing faintly, like the altar downstairs. I read more, unable to stop. The night of howls comes when the gate is near, my uncle wrote. They test you, taste you. I failed. Don't fail, Elias. I wanted to burn the diary again, but I knew it wouldn't work. The house wouldn't let it. Days passed, or maybe hours. Time was slipping. I stayed in my room, avoiding windows, but the howls lingered in my mind, mixing with the whispers. I saw Anna in dreams, running from beasts with starry eyes, her scream endless. My uncle was there, part of the pack, his voice howling my name. I woke with new scratches, my blood staining the sheets, the floor. The house drank it, humming louder. I tried to leave, pounding the door, but it laughed, vibrating under my fists. Windows wouldn't break, glass hard as iron. The whispers mocked, stay, sing, hunt. I was changing, my eyes in the mirror flecked with light, like the creatures outside. My hands shook, holding the diary, its pages heavier now, like they carried the weight of the void. One night I heard Anna's voice, clear and desperate, from downstairs. Elias, they're coming. I ran, crowbar raised, but found only the diary, open on the altar's page. The house laughed, walls pulsing. I sprinkled salt, held the crowbar, but the howls started again, faint but growing. I knew what they wanted, the gate, my blood, my soul. I read the diary one last time, its final page a plea. Elias, the howls are their hunger. The gate is their mouth. Close it or join it. I'm sorry. Tears fell, mixing with blood on the page. The house creaked, pleased. I was trapped, marked, part of its song. The night of endless howls wasn't over. It was just waiting. Chapter 7. Secrets buried. Deep. The house of endless screams had become my cage, its walls a living thing that pulsed with every howl, every whisper. The night of endless howls left, me shaken, my body marked with scratches that traced spirals like the gate's symbols. My uncle's diary, its pages stained with blood and guilt. was a chain I couldn't break. "The gate wants blood," he'd written, and I felt it. My blood, Anna's, maybe his wife's, all feeding the house's hunger. The whispers were constant now, a hum in my veins, urging me to dig deeper, to uncover what the house hid. "Elias, find, unearth," they coaxed, soft as a lover, cruel as a blade. I clutched my crowbar, its iron my only comfort, though it felt useless against the cosmic dread seeping from every crack. The house was winning, and I was running out of fight. Days blurred, time slipping like sand. I avoided the basement, the observatory, the forbidden room, staying in the living room where the fire's weak glow kept shadows at bay. But the whispers pushed, and the diary pulled. One morning, gray light filtering through cracked windows, I opened it again. A new page, one I'd missed, caught my eye. My uncle's handwriting was shaky, barely legible. "The house buries its secrets, not in walls, but in earth. I hid them, but they rise. The yard holds bones, Elias, and more. Don't dig unless you're ready." My heart sank. Bones. I thought of Anna, her scream as the altar took her. Was she buried out there, or something worse? The whispers sang, "Dig, see." I tried to ignore them, pacing the room, but the house groaned, like it was impatient. I looked out the window, the yard overgrown with weeds, thorny vines twisting, like veins. The diary's words burned in my mind, secrets in the earth. I couldn't stay still. I grabbed a shovel from a closet, its blade rusted but sharp, and headed outside. The air was cold, heavy with that burnt metal smell from the night of howls. The gate creaked as I passed, like it was laughing. I started digging near the house where the ground looked disturbed, soil loose and dark. The whispers grew louder, excited. Yes, deeper. My shovel hit roots, snapping them, and they bled a thick black sap that smelled wrong, like decay and stars. My hands shook, but I kept going, dirt piling beside me. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. The house warped time. Then, metal clinked against something hard. I dropped to my knees, clawing at the soil, and found a box, small and iron, its surface carved with spirals. My blood ran cold. The whispers hummed. "Open, no." I pried it open with the shovel's edge, hinges screaming. Inside were bones, small, delicate, maybe a child's. My stomach churned. A star-shaped stone lay among them, glowing faintly, like the altar downstairs. I touched it, and the ground shook, a low rumble that made my teeth ache. Visions hit, dark fields under alien skies, bones rising, forming shapes with too many limbs, their screams joining the endless chorus. The whispers spoke. "We buried our dead, but they rise. They sing." I dropped the stone, hands burning, and the box snapped shut, like it had a mind. I stumbled back, heart pounding. The bones weren't Anna's. They were older, far older. My uncle's diary mentioned a woman, maybe his wife, lost to the gate. Were these hers? Or something else? Something the house claimed long ago? I buried the box again, shoving dirt over it, but the ground pulsed like it was alive. The whispers laughed. "You can't hide. They're awake." I ran inside, slamming the door, but the house felt different, heavier, like it was pleased. That night, the fire wouldn't light. I tried matches, kindling, even oil, but the flames died, sucked away. The whispers were louder, mixed with new sounds, rattling, like bones clacking. I clutched the diary, reading by candlelight. "The yard is their graveyard," my uncle wrote. "I buried what I could, but the house keeps them. The stone is their anchor, tied to the gate. Don't touch it, Elias." Too late. My hand still burned where I'd held the stone, a spiral mark forming, red and raw. Sleep brought nightmares, bones crawling from the earth, knitting into shapes that howled under starry voids. Anna was there, her scream a wail, her body half bone, half shadow. My uncle stood beside her, his eyes black holes whispering, "You dug too deep." I woke, gasping, my hands caked with dirt I didn't remember touching. The diary was open on my chest, its pages glowing, showing a sketch of the yard, the box marked with a star. Words beneath, "The gate feeds on what's buried, blood wakes it." I tried to leave, banging on the door, but it wouldn't budge. Windows laughed, glass unyielding. The whispers mocked, "Stay, dig, join." I was trapped, marked by the stone, the house, the secrets. My eyes in the mirror were wrong, flecked with light, like the creatures from the howls. My hands had new cuts, spiraling like the bones box. Days passed, or hours, time was gone. I went back to the yard, driven by a need I couldn't fight. The dirt was loose again, like the box wanted to be found. I dug faster this time, unearthing it. The stone glowed brighter, pulsing with my heartbeat. I didn't touch it, but the whispers sang, "Take it, open." I slammed the box shut, buried it deeper, piling rocks on top. The ground shook, angry, and the whispers screamed, "You can't stop." Inside, the house was alive. Walls pulsed, floorboards creaked in rhythm. Shadows moved, not human, not beast, but something in between, with starry eyes and bony limbs. I swung my crowbar, hitting nothing, but they laughed, their voices mixing with the whispers. Ours. Always ours. I ran to my room, barricading the door, but the rattling followed, like bones dancing in the walls. I read the diary again, its pages heavier, like they carried the earth's weight. "The secrets are buried," my uncle wrote, "but they don't sleep. The gate calls them, uses them. I buried her bones, but they took her soul. Don't dig, Elias, or you'll join her." Her. The woman in the locket, maybe. I saw her face in my dreams, screaming, her bones rising, joining the endless. Once a storm came, thunder shaking the house like laughter. Lightning lit the yard and I saw them, shapes of bone and shadow, circling where I'd buried the box. They howled, not like the night before, but softer, sadder, like they mourned. The whispers joined. "Free us, sing with us." I clutched. The crowbar sprinkled salt, but the house hummed, drinking my fear. I tried to burn the diary, dousing it with oil, striking a match. The flames died, like always, the pages untouched. The whispers roared, "Ours, forever." I was losing myself, my blood singing with the gate's pulse. My dreams showed me digging, bleeding, the stone in my hand, opening the gate. Anna screamed, my uncle howled, and I was there, part of their chorus. One night I heard Anna's voice, clear and desperate from the yard. "Elias, they're rising." I ran outside, shovel in hand, but found only the box, unearthed again. Its lid open. The stone glowed, whispering my name. I slammed it shut, buried it, but the ground pulsed, the howls returned. The house laughed, walls shaking. I knew now. The secrets buried deep weren't just bones. They were the house's heart, tied to the gate, fed by blood. My uncle tried to hide them, but they rose and I was next. The diary was my map, my curse, pulling me to the basement, to the altar, to the end. Chapter 8. Visions of the Void. The house of endless screams had carved itself into my bones, its secrets rising like the bones I'd unearthed in the yard. The star-shaped stone's glow lingered in my mind, its pulse matching the house's heartbeat, a rhythm that thumped in my chest. My uncle's diary, heavy with blood and warnings, was a chain I couldn't break, its words about gates and blood, pulling me deeper into the house's cosmic trap. The whispers were no longer just voices, they were a tide, flooding my thoughts, urging me to face what I'd been avoiding. "Elias, see, the void," they sang, soft and sharp like knives wrapped in silk. The scratches on my arms, spiraling like the gate's symbols, burned, and my eyes in the mirror held flecks of starlight. I was changing, becoming part of the house's song, and I knew it. My crowbar, my salt, my will, they were nothing against the endless ones. Hunger. I stayed in the living room, the fire's faint glow my only shield against the dark. But the house was alive, its walls pulsing, its floorboards creaking like breaths. The diary lay open, its pages glowing faintly, as if daring me to read more. I fought it, pacing, clutching the crowbar, but the whispers pushed. Look. No. I'd seen too much already. Anna's scream, the starry faces, the bones that rose. But the house wasn't done. It wanted me to see the void, the heart of its horror. My uncle's words echoed. The gate is their mouth, the void their home. I didn't want to go back to the basement, but the whispers knew my weakness, my need to understand. One night I couldn't resist. The air was thick, heavy with that burnt metal smell, and the house felt smaller, like it was closing in. I lit a candle, its flame trembling, and sat on the floor staring at the diary. I didn't open it. Instead, I closed my eyes, letting the whispers guide me. It was a mistake. My mind sank, like falling into a well, and visions came. Vast, black, spaces, not sky, but something older, emptier. The void. Stars weren't stars, but eyes, countless watching. Their screams a song that shook my bones. Shapes moved, huge and wrong, with limbs like shadows, mouths like black holes. They spoke, voices booming through the dark. Elias. Come, join, I gasped, eyes snapping open. The candle was out, the room cold. My hands were wet. Blood, seeping from new cuts, spiraling like the stone's marks. The diary was open, though I hadn't touched it, showing a sketch of the altar, its symbols glowing. Words beneath. The void sees all. Blood calls it. I stood shaking, and the whispers laughed. You saw. You know. I grabbed the crowbar, needing something solid, but the house groaned like it was pleased. I had to face it. The basement. The altar. The gate. I'd avoided it since Anna vanished, but the visions were too strong, the whispers too loud. I lit my lantern, its light weak, and crept to the basement door. It was open, though I'd locked it, the key useless, in my hand. The stairs stretched down, slick with slime, smelling of wet stone and blood. Each step echoed, the whispers growing louder. See, touch. At the bottom, the altar loomed, its stone dark, stained, pulsing with faint light. The symbols on the floor glowed, matching my scratches, the stone, the stars. I knelt, not wanting to, but unable to stop. The altar was cold, but it burned, like touching a frozen star. Visions hit harder, universes born in fire, dying in screams, their ashes feeding the void. I saw beings, endless ones, their forms shifting, eyes like suns, mouths screaming across, eons. They sang of wars fought in black spaces, of worlds swallowed, of souls trapped in their chorus. Anna was there, her scream a thread in their song, her face fading into shadow. My uncle too, his eyes starry, his voice a wail. Elias, don't, he begged, but the void pulled, promising truth, power, madness. I tore my hand away, blood dripping on the altar. The symbols flared, the house shaking. The whispers roared. Yours. Ours. I stumbled back, lantern clattering, its light flickering. Shadows moved, not mine, with limbs too long, eyes too bright. They circled the altar, howling soft, like the night of endless howls. I swung the crowbar, hitting nothing, but they hissed, retreating. The diary fell from my pocket, open to a new page. The void is their heart, the gate their door. I saw too much, Elias. It took her. Don't look, or it takes you. Too late. The vision stayed, burned into my eyes. I ran upstairs, slamming the door, but the house laughed, walls pulsing faster. The living room was different, walls closer, ceiling lower, like a mouth closing. I lit the fire, needing light, but it died, sparks forming shapes, eyes, hands, stars. The whispers sang. You saw, you're ours. I sprinkled salt, clutched the crowbar, but they were useless. The void was in me now, its screams echoing in my skull. Days blurred or hours. Time was gone. I avoided the basement, but the visions followed. Every shadow held eyes, every sound a scream. I saw Anna in my dreams, trapped in the void, her face half gone, her voice begging, "Elias, close it." My uncle was there, his body twisted, part of the endless ones. I woke with new scratches, my blood staining the floor, the house drinking it. My eyes in the mirror were wrong, not mine, filled with black light. I tried to fight, reading the diary for answers. "The void calls through blood," my uncle wrote. I gave mine, thinking I could learn. Fool. It wants more, always more. A chant followed, the same twisting words I'd seen before. I didn't read it, but my lips moved, whispering it. The house shook, the air thick with that burnt star smell. I stopped biting my tongue, tasting blood. The whispers laughed. Close. So close. A storm came, thunder rattling the house like bones. Lightning lit the windows, and I saw them, shapes in the void, standing outside, eyes glowing, mouths open. They weren't shadows, but beings, endless ones, pressing against the glass. I swung the crowbar, shattering a window, but they vanished, their screams lingering. The house hummed, pleased, its pulse stronger. My blood dripped, the floor glowing where it fell. I tried to burn the diary, dousing it with oil, striking a match. The flames died, like always, the pages untouched. The whispers roared. Hours. Forever. I was losing myself, my blood singing with the void's song. My dream showed me standing on the altar, blood pouring, the gate opening. Stars poured in, screams swallowing the world. Anna was there, gone, her scream my own. One night I heard her voice, clear and desperate, from the basement. "Elias, it's here." I ran, crowbar raised, but found only the altar, glowing brighter, symbols, pulsing. The diary was there, open, though I hadn't brought it. The whispers sang, "Touch, open." I didn't, but my hand burned, the spiral mark glowing. The house laughed, walls shaking. I knew now. The void was the endless one's home, the gate their way in. My blood, my will, my fear, they fed it. The diary was my map, my curse pulling me to the end. I wasn't ready, but the house was patient, waiting for me to break. Chapter 9. The Broken Mirror. The house of endless screams had burrowed into my soul, its void-born visions clinging to my mind like damp rot. The altar's pulse, the star-shaped stone, the endless one's screams, they were part of me now, a song I couldn't silence. My uncle's diary, its pages heavy with blood and warnings, was both my guide and my chain, pulling me toward the gate I feared. The whispers were a constant tide, no longer just voices but a force, tugging at my thoughts, my blood. "Elias, look. Become," they urged, sharp and sweet, like poisoned honey. My body was marked, spirals scratched into my skin, my eyes flecked with starlight in the mirror. The crowbar, my salt, my will, they were fading against the house's cosmic hunger. I was losing myself, and the house knew it. Its walls pulsing like a heart, its shadows watching, waiting. I stayed in the living room, the fire's weak glow my only anchor, but it wasn't enough. The visions of the void followed me, eyes and screams filling every dark corner. The diary lay open, its pages glowing faintly, daring me to read more. I fought it, pacing, clutching the crowbar, but the whispers pushed. "Fix. See." Fix what? The mirror in the forbidden room shattered when I'd swung the crowbar, its shards showing my cosmic self, starry-eyed, screaming. I'd broken it to stop the visions, but the house didn't care. It wanted me back in that room, to face the glass to see what it hid. One night the air grew thick, heavy with that burnt metal smell, and the house felt smaller, walls closing in like a trap. The whispers were louder, chanting, "Mend. Look." I couldn't fight it. I climbed the attic stairs, each step creaking like a warning, my lantern's light trembling. The forbidden room's door was open, though I'd locked it. The boards I'd nailed scattered on the floor. Inside, the air was cold, sharp, smelling of dust and something sour like old blood. The mirror's shards lay scattered, glinting. In the lantern's glow, each piece showing my face, not mine, but wrong, with eyes like black stars, mouth open in a silent scream. I knelt, hands shaking, and gathered the shards. They cut my fingers, blood dripping, but I couldn't stop. The whispers sang, "Fix, see." I found glue in the attic's clutter, old and sticky, and pieced the mirror back together, fitting jagged edges like a puzzle. My blood smeared the glass, and it glowed, faint at first, then brighter, pulsing with the house's rhythm. The mirror was whole again, but wrong. Cracks still showed, and my reflection was twisted. Not me, but something else. Something endless. Its eyes locked on mine, and it spoke, voice like mine, but colder. "Come through, join us." I stumbled back, heart pounding, but the mirror pulled, like a tide dragging me under. Visions came. Other mirrors, other houses, all linked, all screaming. I saw myself in each, different but the same, trapped in glass across worlds. Anna was there, pounding on her side, her scream a wail, her face fading into shadow. My uncle too, his eyes starry, his voice a plea. "Elias, don't." The mirror's hum grew louder, shaking the room, and my reflection reached out. Hand breaking through the glass, cold and claw-like, grabbing my wrist. I yanked free, blood dripping, and swung the crowbar, shattering the mirror again. Shards flew, each screaming, showing my cosmic face. The whispers roared, "You break nothing. We're forever." The room shook, dolls on shelves laughing, their glass eyes glowing. The rocking horse swayed, creaking like a heartbeat. I ran, slamming the door, but the house laughed, walls pulsing faster. The hallway stretched, doors appearing where none had been, leading to nowhere. Back in the living room, I barricaded the door, but the visions followed. Every shiny surface, knife, window, even the fire's glow, showed my starry-eyed self, smirking. The diary fell open, though I hadn't touched it, to a page I hadn't seen. "The mirror is their eye, Elias. I fixed it once, thinking I could learn. Fool, it shows the truth, but takes your soul." My uncle's handwriting was wild, smeared with blood. I broke it, but it mends itself. "Don't look or you're theirs." Too late. The mirror's pull was in me. Its visions burned into my eyes. Sleep brought nightmares, a Gothic nightmare of endless houses, each with a mirror, each with a gate. I stepped through the glass in my dream, entering a world of twisted spires and black skies, where screams were the only sound. Anna was there, trapped in a mirror, her hands clawing, her scream my own. My uncle stood beside her, half man, half void, whispering, "You fixed it, you opened it." I woke, gasping, my hands bleeding, shards of glass I didn't remember touching scattered on the floor. Days blurred, or hours, time was gone. I avoided the attic, but the mirror's pull lingered. I saw its shards in my dreams, each showing a piece of the void, a piece of me. The whispers sang, "Look, become." I tried to fight, sprinkling salt, clutching the crowbar, but the house was stronger. Shadows moved, not human, with starry eyes and clawing hands. They stood in corners, watching, waiting. I swung the crowbar, hitting nothing, but they laughed, their voices mixing with the whispers. A storm came, thunder shaking the house like laughter. Lightning lit the windows, and I saw them, shapes in the glass, not reflections but beings, endless ones pressing against the surface. They weren't shadows but forms, with eyes like voids, mouths screaming. I smashed a window, but they vanished, their screams lingering. The house hummed, its pulse stronger, my blood dripping, the floor glowing where it fell. I tried to burn the diary, dousing it with oil, striking a match. The flames died, like always, the pages untouched. The whispers roared. Ours. Forever. I was losing myself, my blood singing with the mirror's song. My dream showed me standing before the mirror, blood pouring, the gate opening through the glass. Stars poured in, screams swallowing the world. Anna was there, gone, her scream my own. One night I heard her voice clear and desperate from the attic. "Elias, it's open." I ran, crowbar raised, but found only the mirror. Whole again, though I'd smashed it. My reflection stared, not smirking, but sad, like it pitied me. The whispers sang, "Step through, join." I didn't, but my hand burned, the spiral mark glowing. The house laughed, walls shaking. I knew now, the mirror was the gates. I, the void's window. My blood, my will, my fear, they fed it. The diary was my map, my curse, pulling me to the end. I wasn't ready, but the house was patient, waiting for me to break. Chapter 10. The Final Chant. The house of endless screams had consumed me, its cosmic hunger a weight I couldn't shake. The broken mirror's shards, the void's visions, the star-shaped stone, they were etched into my soul, their screams a song I couldn't silence. My uncle's diary, its blood-stained pages heavy with warnings, was my only guide, though it felt like a curse pulling me toward the gate. The whispers were a storm now, no longer coaxing but commanding, their voices clawing at my mind. "Elias, chant, open." They roared, sharp as glass, relentless as time. My body was a map of the house's will, spirals scratched into my skin, my eyes glowing with starlight in every reflection. The crowbar, the salt, my defiance, they were nothing against the endless one's pull. I was theirs, and the house knew it, its walls throbbing like a heart, its shadows grinning. Hid in the living room, the fire long dead, the air thick with that burnt metal smell. The diary lay open, its pages pulsing faintly, as if alive. I'd read every word, memorized every warning, but the house didn't care. It wanted me in the basement, at the altar, to finish what Anna started, what my uncle failed to stop. The Maud. Whispers sang of the gate, of blood, of a chant that would open or close it. I knew the words now. That twisting language from the diary burned into my mind like a brand. I fought them, but my lips twitched, wanting to speak, to sing the house's song. One night the house shook, a low rumble like a beast waking. The whispers peaked, a chorus of screams, and the air grew heavy, pressing on my chest. I lit a candle, its flame weak, flickering like it was scared. The diary fell open, though I hadn't touched it, to the altar's sketch, symbols glowing blood red. Words beneath, the chant opens the gate, closes it, blood binds it. I failed, Elias. Don't. My uncle's plea, smeared in blood, felt like a knife. I clutched the crowbar, its iron cold, and headed for the basement. I couldn't hide anymore. The gate was calling, and I had to face it. The basement door was open. Though I'd bolted it, the lock twisted like it had melted. The stairs stretched down, slick with slime, smelling of blood and stars. Each step echoed, the whispers roaring. Chant. Now. At the bottom, the altar loomed, its stone black, pulsing with light that matched my heartbeat. The symbols on the floor glowed, spiraling like my scars, like the stone in the yard. Shadows moved, not mine, with starry eyes and clawing hands circling the altar. They howled, soft but hungry, like the night of endless howls. I stood before the altar, crowbar raised, but my hand shook. The whispers sang the chant, and my lips moved, speaking words I didn't want to know. Zathar, Vul, Que Vadis. The air tore, a crack forming above the altar, black light spilling out, cold and wrong. Visions flooded me, worlds, burning, stars screaming, the endless ones stepping through, their forms vast, shifting, eyes like voids. Anna was there, trapped in the crack, her scream a wail, her hands reaching. My uncle stood beside her, half man, half star, whispering, "Stop, or join." I bit my tongue, blood filling my mouth, and stopped the chant. The crack shrank, but didn't close, the shadows hissing. More. Give more. I swung the crowbar, smashing the altar, but it didn't crack. The symbols flared, the house shaking, walls groaning like they laughed. My blood dripped, the floor drinking it, glowing brighter. The whispers roared. Yours. Ours. I sprinkled salt, hoping my uncle was right, but it burned away, smoke forming eyes, mouths, stars. The shadows closed in, their claws brushing. My skin cold as space. I swung again, hitting nothing, and ran upstairs, slamming the door. The house pulsed, angry, the crack's light seeping through the floorboards. Back in the living room, I barricaded the door, but the visions followed. Every surface, windows, knives, even my own blood, showed the gate's light, the endless, one's eyes. The diary was open, a new page. The chant is their key, Elias. I sang it, thinking I could control them. Fool, it takes everything, blood, will, soul. My uncle's words broke, smeared with tears or blood. Close it or... It takes you. I wanted to, but the chant was in me, my lips moving without sound, the house singing through me. Sleep was impossible, but it came anyway, dragging me into nightmares. I stood on the altar, blood pouring from my hands, the gate wide open. Stars poured in, not light but beings, their screams swallowing the world. Anna was gone, her scream my own. My uncle was there, part of them, his voice a howl. You sang. You opened. I woke, gasping, my hands bleeding, the diary open on my chest, its pages glowing. New scratches marked my arms, spiraling tighter, like a noose. Days blurred, or hours. Time was dead. The house was different, walls shifting, doors leading to nowhere. I saw the crack's light everywhere, seeping from cracks, glowing in shadows. The whispers sang the chant, and I fought to stay silent, biting my lips. Raw! A storm came, thunder shaking the house like laughter, lightning showing shapes outside. Endless ones, pressing against the windows, their eyes voids, their mouths screaming. I smashed a window, but they vanished, their screams lingering. My blood dripped, the floor glowing, the house humming, pleased.